I wanted to put that back up because I'll tie it in just a second. But Carter's already done a great job of talking about who we are, and we're spiritual centered and what we do and what we believe. What I want to say to you is that we simply speak what we seek into the universe. Bill talked about wanting to get some confirmation about his talk. And this is what we do, right? We don't want to just be talking and thinking we know everything without getting some kind of confirmation. It sounds good. We can make a case pretty much for anything. I certainly can. So he did it. You step out in experience. You step out in faith, and you have experiences of God answering prayer. And he said, okay, so tell me, what do you think? Is this a good topic? Should I be talking about it? And immediately he comes up. Before he gets here, he gets a message that says, yeah, Bill, people got to listen. So yeah, the best way to get somebody to talking is ask them what they think, and then you'll be listening. So it's perfect. And he just gave us a great example of how quickly Spirit responds. And that's what we want to talk about. It's not just about, it is about prayer and meditation, because this is how we speak and we hear from God. It's absolutely about that. But it's also about stepping out and taking some action on the things that we're talking about, experiencing it. Experiencing our spirituality. This is how we know as we move forward. We're talking today in our book club. We're talking about how we know, how we. I'm not going to do a whole bunch because I know you're going to be doing this, but how we are detached. Because when we attach to things, this is where we get a lot of nerves and we worry about things because we're attached to the outcome. But how we become detached, one of the many ways, is when we begin to understand the process of our own spirituality and how we manifest and speak with God. And when we see that process in action, it's an experience that we can go back to and say, oh, I know how this works. I've done it before. You do this, this, and this. And then you get what you want. You get the answer. So this is what Bill did this morning. He just, okay, I need something. I'll put a demand on the universe. God, what do you think? Tell me what the answer is and send me something so I'll know this is true. And then there you go. So these are the processes that we understand more and more as we take the lesson and take the learning into our own hearts and actually try it. That's what God says. Try me in this and see if I won't fill your house full of blessings. Just try me. Test me in what I'm telling you. So I just wanted to come back to that because it's just so wonderful to see that it actually works. What we're talking about every single day actually works. And so I would like for you to set your intention right now. So we do every Sunday morning. I ask you to please set your intention. Why are you here? What do you want to get? Do you want a word? Do you want to hear a word? Do you need something answered? Are you asking a question? Whatever you need, set your intention, and I'll tell you right now, because setting an intention is a prayer, is a demand on the universe, and you will get an answer. So set your intention for what you want this morning, and you will get it. Just look for it. It'll be there for you. So set it now. And I'd like to, again, kind of tie in our talks that we've been talking about. And what we're trying to do is to, this feels like it's in my way. I feel like I'm going to trip on that. What we're trying to do is to, again, take what we're thinking about and what we're talking about and take it into experiences. And so as we talk each Sunday morning, as I give a talk, I'd like to try to tie it together, because this is a series and talking about how do we do things? How does this work? How do we manifest? How do we keep it going? And so last week we talked about just think it through. Think your way through, because we have so much power. Jesus told us that. He said that these miracles, these things that I'm doing, you shall do, greater things shall you do, because it's the Father within, which means that we are the divine. The Father is within us. The Spirit is in us. And so anything we need, we can ask. Bill showed us that this morning. Just ask, and it is there for you. It's always there for you. So think your way through. When you're trying to figure something out, we're trying to get off of autopilot and know that you have the power to ask the question and that the answer will be revealed to you. So think your way through. That was last week's. So this week, the other one, that one before, the other one before that. Keep going. There it is. God is baking. I love it. because my talk is put the bacon on. And Carter found this beautiful little strip of bacon there. And I love it that it's God is baking. So what does it mean? You can move forward. So what does it mean? So I want to share with you what that means. So, you guys know that I take trips with Kim and with Melinda. We call ourselves the 3 Women Ministers. And we just take every once a quarter, We try to go someplace and just relax and go to a retreat and just fill our own hearts. You know what I mean? Just empty the things that are just kind of aggravating us, or whatever it is that you're trying to go about your business. And remember, just remember who we are. So Melinda and I were on our way to seek him. And so she and I just kind of talking and chit-chatting about one of the hardest things for us, and I think for people in general, is to stay awake. To stay awake to what is. One of the things we say in the Black community is, don't sleep on that, whatever that may be. Don't sleep on Walmart. Don't think it's not good, because there's all kinds of good deals over at Walmart. Don't be sleeping over at Ross, okay, because there's a lot of good deals over. Don't sleep on it. Don't fall asleep on it. So don't sleep on your life. There's a lot going on. Don't keep falling asleep. And so it's always my intention to try to help us stay awake. And so we were talking about that, and she said, oh yeah, I'll put the bacon on for you. I'm like, I'm sorry. What? What does that mean, to put the bacon on for me? She said, well, think about it. What wakes you up in the morning? If you hear somebody, you smell somebody cooking bacon, doesn't that wake you right up? That's what that means. I'll put the bacon on for you, which means I'll help you stay awake. When I see your phone asleep, I'll put the bacon on for you, and I'll help you stay awake. I'll remind you. I'll remind you. And so we do that for each other. We put the bacon on for each other, because that's what we want to do. We don't just want to surround ourselves with people who think like we do. How do you keep growing if you're not challenged? And so as I'm out in my life, and I've done this my whole life, and it happens to be, it's not because there's anything special going on, it's just how my brain works. It's just how it works. And then probably part of my personality is that if you're, and it just to aggravate the heck, it probably still does, the heck out of teachers and other people that I'm talking to, because what happens is they're saying something, and in my mind, think about it like if somebody's trying to give you directions. So if someone's giving me directions, in my mind, I'm following the directions, right? And so they say, okay, so what you want to do is you want to go up the street, hold it. So I put my hand up all the time. I'm sorry, what? I don't know what up the street means, because I don't know any direction that goes up. It's either north, south, east, or west. So when you say up, right, what does up mean? So so we get clarity. Okay, so you go up the street, and then you go about a few miles, and then you turn right. Stop. Turn right. Is there a street, or is there some sort of landmark, or how do I know to turn right? And so this is what happens when I'm talking to people about whatever it is they want to share with me. They'll say something like, oh, he really pissed me off. People say, he, this thing really pissed me off. What do you mean? I don't raise my hand, but I said, what do you mean? How does something, why did that piss you, how does that piss you off? What's going on in you? This is what pisses them off, right? Right? Because really, how does somebody do something to you? Again, this is what we do, right? This is New Thought is it's a living spirituality, and it's a reality. It's a spirituality of responsibility. What's happening to me is me, right? What's happening to us is us individually. You are not making me do anything. If I'm angry, what we get to do is look inside and say, what's that about? What is that bringing up for me? It's really interesting, because it both is and it is not about other people. It both is and it is not. We get to help, and we get to serve, and they get to say things, and we get to then say, what does that mean to us? Why am I reacting in such a way? This is really great stuff for relationships, right? Because can't you hear someone saying something to your significant other or your sister or somebody who says something to you, and all of a sudden you're just so upset? Really, they're just being who they are. So your getting upset does what? It does what? It does nothing except create this. They get upset, you say something, they say something, it just keeps going. Instead, if we could just ask ourselves, what's that about? Why are you upset? Particularly because people are showing up as themselves. They're simply showing up as themselves. So if you want them to change, good luck, right? Good luck with that. The only thing we have control over is our own thoughts, feelings, Only us. But again, isn't that the most powerful thing we have? That we get to say and we get to decide how it's going to be for us. So when I hang out with someone like with Kim and Melinda, they get to challenge me. I've given them permission. You know what? Actually, I don't need to give them permission. They're going to do it anyway. Sorry about that. What I'm saying is I've given myself permission to hear it and to take it in and to think about it before I go off someplace. Oh, what does that mean? And I ask them for some clarity. What are you seeing? What do you mean by that? And then I get to take it in and decide what I'm going to do with it. I don't have to go back to them and say anything. It's a wake-up call for me. And whether I decide to wake up or stay asleep, again, this is your decision. Sometimes you ain't ready to wake up. Sometimes it's just real comfortable to be asleep. So go ahead and take a nap. But know that you're napping. That's all. If we get to make a decision, how do we get to make a decision? Because we're aware of something, right? If you're not aware of it, you're not making any decisions. You're just on autopilot. And again, this is right back to staying awake. The whole thing when I talked about a few weeks back about think about it, think it through. All of these messages are about us getting off of autopilot and actually deciding how you want to be in the world. How you want to be in the world. So the day I'm heading over to my sister's house because I went over to, we went down to New Orleans. We drove down. So so back to freeway. You know, all kinds of opportunities to grow when you're on the freeway. So I'm trying to get on the freeway right by my house. You know, the first one when you get on 20. And so it's a pile of cars. And it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Why I waited till 4, I have no idea, because I had all day I could have gone. But I waited till 4 like an idiot. But anyway, so I'm trying to get on the freeway, and it's one of those lanes where it's an on-ramp for us and an off-ramp for someone else. So it's just the one lane, right? And then these people are flying by, because, you know, it's traffic, people are getting off of work. So it's a lot of traffic. So we kind of, my thought is, this is my thinking, that we're just going to be kind, and everybody's just going to, you know, just weave over, that didn't work out. So I see, so something's coming up, and there's going to be this little space here, so me and the girl behind me, we can get in, you know, we can get over, and these people can get over. But what she decides to do is to go around me and try to zoom up. And so I said, you're not going to have time to go around me fast enough because your car won't. So I just slid on over in front of her. Oh my God, she did all of this. She was so mad at me. And I was like, peace, baby. It's all good. And so that's what I did. I just looked at her and I smiled and I just gave her the peace sign. And I was like, it's okay, honey. We both got to get on here. But she was going on down the freeway just flying on top of people. And I just thought, wow, your trip is already going to be bad. And I don't know where you're going, but it ain't going to be good when you get there. This is what I get to do, though. I didn't have to. I could have waited, but actually I couldn't because there just wasn't any room. I don't know what she was thinking. There was really no way for me to get on unless I just moved over on top of her. So, again, not saying it's right or wrong. I'm talking about choices that you get to make. And so she's flipping me off. I could have flipped her back off, but I didn't want to because I wasn't angry with her. I wasn't. I just thought, well, okay, we could have been kind. We could have both been kind, but you decided not to. It's okay. I still got what I wanted. You didn't quite get what you wanted, but that's okay. And I tried to send her a little bit of love, even though she wasn't receiving it. It's okay. Maybe she'll get it later. Maybe she won't. It's not up to me. It's not up to me. What is up to me is how I'm going to respond. Yeah? How I'm going to respond. I needed to get over. And I didn't want to send anger to her. I didn't want to do it. So I just flashed a peace sign. That might have made her angry. I don't know. But that's not, again, that's up to her. My intention was to send her peace. And say, it's all peaceful, it's all good. To me. We'll see. But those are the choices that we get to make. And that's how we get to stay awake, is by deciding. We talk about this at the beginning in January and all through the year. I talk about who do you want to be? And are you being that? At the beginning of the year, we look at our virtues and we talk about, for me, I try to just like list 5 that are just on my mind all the time, the top 5 virtues. So that as I'm out talking and dealing with people, those top 5 are always on my mind. Because my spirituality is really important to me. Am I seeing God in everybody? Am I loving everybody? Am I being compassionate? Am I showing up as truth? And being truthful and authentic, those things are important. Those are like in my top 5. And that's how I show up. What are your top 5? So we get to do that. When we get that, when we know what our top 5 virtues are, and there's more, there's many more, but just to keep that right in your head. I think they say we can keep 7 ideas in our head at once. So just those 5 things, then you get to keep waking up. That's the whole idea of waking up. And actually, you could put a little bit of this on autopilot because you're automatically coming as who you've decided to be. As who you've decided to be. But every now and again, when you're interacting, I had to ask myself, did you show up with this woman, that's the reason I told you the story, in the way that you wanted, in the way that you say you want to be. In the way that you say you want. Doesn't matter how she received it. The question is, what was I doing? What was I doing? That's all I get to do, is what is Pjae doing? So you get to ask yourself the same questions. How are you showing up? Is it how you want to show up? If it is, great. If it's not, you have an opportunity to come back around and say, okay, well, next time. Because there's no, we're not going to hell for mistakes, right? We don't believe in hell. There is no hell. You're in hell when you make a mistake anyway. I mean, you're doing it yourself. So you can make a mistake and learn from it. And the mistake is only if you call it one. So it's not a mistake by my standards. It's because it's not how you're showing up, how you say you want to be. That's the only mistake that you're making. And you get an opportunity to change that and create a different experience for yourself. That's what we're doing. So a living spirituality is staying awake to who you say you are, what matters to you, what's important to you, and showing up in that way all the time, and being around people who will put the bacon on for you when you're starting to fall asleep, and you do the same thing for them because you know who they said to you they want to be, and you just ask them that. That's not who you said you are. You showed up in this way, but that's not how you said you are. That's it. Don't say anything more. They get to do whatever they want to with it. They get to do whatever they want to with it if they've asked you to help them with it. If they haven't asked you, keep it to yourself. Because again, you can't answer a question that ain't been asked, right? So if it's been asked, you can answer that question. And so just real quick, the other story, just real quick, I want to talk about these constant aha moments that happen in my life. Because the other part of, not the other, like there's only one, but another part of falling asleep is thinking that the way you do things, the way I do things is the way to do it, right? The way I do it is the way to do it. I mean, the way I read a map is how you read a map, right? There's no up. But there are people that are perfectly clear with what up means. I just wasn't. I need some clarity so we could be on the same page. But I went to, so I'm going to tell you really quick 3 stories, and I'll tie it back together what the 3 stories mean. But I went to my nephew's graduation in wherever it was. And it was about 2.5 hours from here. And so the invitation, first of all, I was on Facebook. I don't get on Facebook. I'm sorry, I don't get on Facebook. I don't even know how to get on Facebook. I don't even understand it. I can get on it, but I don't understand how to get the feed that I want and read what I want. I'm reading everybody else's crap and not my own, so I don't understand that. Number one. Number two, the invitation didn't have instructions to how to get where we were going. So I had to look it up, because obviously it's a school, so I can look up what the school is. And I get there, and I'm at the school, but I don't see any graduation. Like, what's going on here? So I'm having to get more information. So that's number one. So I'm thinking to myself, oh my God, these kids don't know how to send out an invitation. You send out an invitation, you send out the map, you tell them exactly who they're going to be meeting, what's going on? Right? I got to figure all this stuff out. That's story number one. The story number two, the after party. So my nephew invited us to this after party at 6 o'clock. And so he just gave us the address. I'm like, he sent the address he texted to me, and I got the address. Okay, what is this? Like, is this a house, or is this a hotel, or what is this we're going to? So we get there, and there's a gate with a pad. I'm like, keypad. I'm like, you didn't send me the keypad? So I'm trying to call him. Of course, he's not answering because he probably can't hear us with the party going on. He can't hear the number. So he can't hear it. Now there's cars stacked up behind me. So the kids jump out. The kids that are in the cars, they jump out and just holler the pad number to me. So, oh, thank you. And so I get, I'm thinking, why didn't he just send me the blah, blah? Well, they knew because they got on Facebook. That's where he put it, right? So it was on Facebook. I didn't know. So I'm thinking, these kids. So back again, these kids. And the final thing is that when my older sister passed away in 2014, before we got it to call the family, my nephew had it on Facebook. Okay, that's fine, because you got to let people know who don't necessarily communicate with you, but not until after. So there's so many people calling up talking about, oh my God, is this true? Is this true? Is she? All right, so those are the 3 stories. So what I'm saying is, me and my ilk saying, these young people, they don't know how to do anything. And the young people go, these old people, they don't know how to do anything. How come they didn't get on Facebook? My point is this, there's value in all of it. I did learn some stuff on Facebook. Now I know I can actually, it doesn't have to be, I have to come up to what's happening now, right? Just because that's how I was raised, it's not a bad thing, but it doesn't mean everybody has to do it. This is, again, part of me waking up. It doesn't need to be, right? It doesn't need to be what I'm used to. Just because I'm used to it and I'm comfortable with it, doesn't mean that the other way is wrong. So I'm learning, and I'm growing too, and I'm waking up. We're always having to wake up, right? Isn't there always a new generation doing it differently than the old generation? And there's always this chit-chat about old people and young people. I think we both, the old people and the young people, can learn from each other. I think we both do good things. And I would love it if we started, all of us. But I have no control of what we do. I have control over what I do. And that's what I'm going to do. That's my decision. What's yours? When it comes to waking up, what's your decision? What I want to share with you is what we get to do, the action steps, is we keep putting the bacon on. Just keep putting the bacon on for yourself and for others, those who've asked. Challenge your thinking. Why is it that it had to be my way? It didn't. All those kids got there. And some of the older people too, because they knew to get on Facebook. They got there. I learned. I learned that little piece for myself. And I can always ask myself, as I'm going into this auto mode, why does it have to be that way? And what's the worst that could happen if everything went on Facebook? What's the worst that could happen in my life? Well, people would know a lot quicker, and more people would know. More people would know. So these are the things we get to see. Keep putting the bacon on, challenge your thinking, and ask, what's the worst that could happen if things changed? Because things are going to change, right? They always do. They always do. New Thought is a living spirituality. It's a living spirituality. Part of that means continually waking up, continually growing and changing and adjusting and thinking that what I have to bring is valuable, as well as what someone else has to bring is valuable. It's all valuable. Why? Because we're all individualized expressions. So we all have something very valuable to bring. And I just want to stay open to that. I want to leave you with this final quote from Jean Craighead George, who wrote this book called My Side of the Mountain. One of the gasping joys of summer was my daily bath in the spring. It was cold water, and I never stayed long, but it woke me up and started me into the day with a vengeance. What's going to start you into your day with a vengeance? Whatever that is. Put the bacon on, whatever it is. Let's stay awake, because being awake is being fully present in each moment without regret for what was, for what could have been, or for what shall be. Namaste.